All right, everyone, welcome to this week's Wind Down, which is our latest segment exclusively on YouTube. What we do, we have a little conversation post the full episode, 15 to 20-minute conversation, usually about a conversation that we might have started somewhere on the show, but we didn't fully get to flesh it out. So we're having it here on YouTube and we're having it with one of our former guests. It's super fun. Make sure you tell a friend to tell a friend. This week, we're welcoming the beautiful Woodeline Pierre, and she's a nurse, healthcare professional. She got the entrepreneurship on deck, so we're gonna have a great conversation with her today.
Thank you guys for having me. It's great to be here.
Yes, thank you for coming on. It's great to see you again. Always lovely to speak to you. We loved having you on the show previously. So, how have you been doing in that time? You good? I hope everything's good.
Well, from the time, yes, I've been good until the pandemic happened. So it's been quite busy and stressful, but we're here alive and we're grateful as well to be here and talk to you tonight.
Absolutely. So, the topic for tonight, guys, we're gonna tackle productivity versus kind of like preserving your mental health during this pandemic. Because if you guys you've heard it on the show, Clarence and I have had these conversations. There's weeks where I'll be like, I was super productive. And then there's other weeks where I'm like, I fucking hate it here. You know what I mean? So like I just and it happens. There's like ups and downs and ebbs and flows and stuff like this. I think in the beginning, a lot of people were saying, if you don't come out of this with a business, you just you're a failure basically, or if you don't like take this time to eat, pray, love and grow like significantly, I don't know what you're out here doing. And that was like a little tough for some people. What was your thought on that?
I would say me being an entrepreneur as well as me being on the other side and seeing things going crazy during this pandemic. I would say do what's best for you because me as an entrepreneur, I find myself where I was tired.
Mm,
I was tired at one point as a person first, as a nurse, and as an entrepreneur at one time. Yes, I want to make that sale, but you have all these things going on. The money is important, but I also took that time and enjoy it because at one point I never spent time with my family,
mm,
even though I was busy. But it was during that time like everybody get to stay home. Like at least most of them get to stay home, see
mhm.
the family, because we always crying about that day off, and then boom, we kind of have a little bit of days off, and then we kind
Yep,
of
2 days off.
thinking about, oh yeah, I'm gonna call out. Now you have plenty of days, so
Mhm,
where you didn't have to call out. I would say some people, like you said, mentioned that if you don't take this seriously, take the time to work on your business or whatever, you're a failure. And I tell people, don't let anyone dictate how you should do things.
mm,
Yes, it's always encouraging to have someone boosting you and backing you up, and also take advantage of, I would want a friend to push me to
mhm,
be better, but in a time like this I have to be grateful that I'm able to breathe and then take it one day at a time, because that person you saying, you telling to just go ahead and take the situation and turn it around,
mhm.
probably lost about 5 or 6 members of their family. I can speak to her that way. So we have to be mindful of the situation, what's going on, and how to approach things. Because as much as we want to be productive, but if the head is not right, your mental health is not fine,
Mhm.
nothing. You can't accomplish anything.
Yeah,
Absolutely nothing. So I feel like we can always be productive to a certain point, but when it's time for us to rest, we gotta take the time to do that.
I agree.
Mm.
100%.
And just to piggyback on that, I feel like it's a double-edged word because everybody have their own balance and everybody have their own way to be productive.
Mm,
And I feel like the people that are saying that it's kind of like a social pressure,
mhm,
Yes.
because at the end of the day, now they're pushing that image of like, oh, during pandemic you don't get out of the pandemic with a business. Like, it's not everybody that is suited for business. Some people, maybe they need like to take some class and go back to school from distance, or
mhm.
I don't know, maybe you feel like you got to discover your own talent. Maybe you got some stuff, like some personal issues that you got to correct. There's different levels
Yes.
regarding what's going on. So I feel like people shouldn't like listen to what's going on out there, man. Just listen to yourself and keep it
Exactly.
100 with yourself. If you know that you gotta go back to school, go back to school. If you know that you gotta do your resume again from scratch and find and apply for another job, just do what you gotta do. You know?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And the crazy thing is there are people, most of those people that we're talking probably ain't doing that anyways, you know what I mean? They just gotta look like they're doing something online, you know? So it's like, hey, I know I woke up and did nothing today, but let me, kind of,
For something.
yeah, let me ish on these people
And
that
and
go ahead.
and that's the thing too. Like, yo, it's all right sometimes to have days that we don't feel productive or that we don't feel inspired. Yo, sometimes just mentally and physically you need to take a break,
Spend.
and it's good. And sometimes you need to take a step back to take like 10 big step after. So that's how it is, man. People should stop like playing
Exactly.
around and be honest with themselves. I feel like that's the key.
I think
Exactly.
a lot of the people too, like I think a lot of people, maybe what you needed to do this pandemic was actually rest. It was to do nothing, you know what I mean? And that seems scary in a time where everything stood still, but it seemed like everybody was trying to reinvent themselves, especially if you're looking at the media and celebrities. You're like, oh, well, this person started a show, this person launched a new product. It's like I need to do something with this time because we're always asking, like you said, Woodland, we're always asking for more time, and you might feel guilty if you do have more time and you don't do anything with it. So I'm not saying don't do nothing. Like if there is that, like Clarence just said, like if there is a day where you feel like doing nothing, two even 3 days, I wouldn't say stay unproductive for like an
Yeah.
extended period of time. You know what I mean? Find what it is that you want to do, but also don't take your like the social cues and the pressure to let you know that this is how fast I'd be moving. I'm talking to myself because I definitely I do that sometimes. I look at other people, I'm like, oh my God, like I need to like get up, girl, get up.
Understand. And just to piggyback on what you just said, during the pandemic, I have honestly, me being a nurse, I would say since April. Well, the first 2 months of last year wasn't too bad. I know things started happening; it wasn't too bad. But starting April 2020, it's been rough.
Mm,
Me as a nurse, it's been rough since then.
mhm.
And I remember back in September, I take 2 weeks PTO, like pay time off, like 18 days to be exact. And at one point, I'm like, shoot, I need to go back to work, but I gotta picture myself and I said, Willie, you're gonna take those days off.
Mhm.
You're
Mm,
gonna take them off and you're gonna enjoy your time. You're gonna stay home, you eat, you rest, and then you come back again, you know. But at that time, people were like, why would you take 2 weeks? Yes, oh, it's my birthday, it's one day, but I'm still gonna take, 17 more days
Listen,
just to rest. And because it was rough, it was absolutely rough. And I do not regret one day that
mm,
I did take those time off. So you need that. I mean, yes, we can be productive, but I feel like people should not be pressured because what someone level 10 is, maybe you out of three, you cannot jump from 3 to 10. So you got to take it step by
mm,
step, like you said, maybe go to a class or something. You're not gonna absolutely come from 0 to 10, at one point. So it's a learning process, but you also have to take the time to enjoy it because your mental health is very important. It is, because
yeah,
once everything start going downhill, you're not gonna be able to focus to do anything that you're pressured about anyway.
big
mm.
fact. And you
Big
as a
facts.
nurse, I'm sure you've seen a lot of crazy things during this pandemic, which have probably affected your mental health as well. How do you balance that?
I tell you what, I've never, as a nurse, I've never put anyone in a body bag until COVID. And it shook me to the core. And I was talking to my mom. I said, I've never done this.
Mm,
I've never done this. It's painful. It took a lot for me mentally.
mhm,
And I had that conversation with my nurse friends, and I was telling them one time I was at work and I hear a call light, and they ask, who's this, who's this, whose patient is this? And I said, mine. And not knowing that this person has passed. I was literally running to the room.
Wow.
So it took me a minute to get my thoughts together, and I said, Woodland, what are you doing?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So it's been a lot. And sometimes, I really, every time I wake up, yes, I want to be productive. I have to launch my planner, which I was way behind and everything. But every day I wake up, I thank God that the day did not start without me. And I take it one day at a time, and I'm grateful to be here. And if I need to take my time for my mental health, I will, because everything else will be fine if I'm gone.
Yep.
Mm,
The world goes on. Big facts. Listen, I wow, that was I had to think about it because like that's like crazy from going to never having done it and then suddenly
Exactly.
being put in it. Yeah, it's definitely something that everybody has had to adjust to in their lives. It's a crazy new reality for sure. And I mean, just kind of just switch gears a little tiny bit on it. I mean, you mentioned the planners a bit, and you are somebody who is really big on planning and on just making sure that everything, is in
Mhm.
order. Is how would you like what would you say like to inspire somebody who has kind of given up on that part, you know what I mean? They're just not motivated to do those things. Like what are some simple steps that you can get you back into a certain routine and even, make your mental health better as well?
One thing I'm really big on, like I said, I'm sorry, it's mental health. And I'm glad that I'm able to integrate that into my planner. For someone that's not used to planning or trying to plan or anything like that, I would say just take a time and just do a brain dump. I tell people just do a brain dump. Whatever thing's in your mind, just put it down. And then after that, we kind of choose. It's the same way you have, like, let's just say you have a bag of grapes and you want to eat a couple of them and they've been in the fridge for a couple of days, and you got to go through them and pick what's
mm,
the best. Okay. So it's the same way if you have not been planning and you want to, pick whatever thing's important. You have to kind of dump everything down on a piece of paper and then choose what's most important to you. Is it something that could is it something that I could do now or I could do later?
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry.
Okay.
I need water. If it's something that I can do now, or I can do later, and you just plan on that, and you prioritize which one is best. Because I tell
mm,
people all the time, when you planning, this is how I plan. When you plan, yes, we have a bunch of to-do lists, but also think how those to-do lists gonna make you feel, like a how this gonna make me feel list, you
Mm.
know so
mm,
yes, this is, yes, you have all these plans, like you have all these resolutions and stuff, new year, whatever, and by the end of the year, you didn't accomplish anything because you were just like in your mood and trying to put things down,
So
but you
that
never really kind of go
mm,
through, okay, is this really important? And you don't have to jump big, start small. Yes, I understand you may need to save that $5,000, but honey, you don't have money to save $5,000 right now. Save that $200, start small and make it a priority. And then how does that $200 will make you feel by the end of the month? Will it cover some bills? So when you're doing your to-do list, make sure that to-do list, it's like it's also included in how this going to make me feel list. So is it gonna empower me? Is it gonna make me feel happy that I was able to cover some bills or some debt, paying my credit card or anything of that nature? So you have to think of that. And I also create a part of my planner that it's like a monthly self-care reflection, where you're not only focusing a bunch of to-do list things to do, but you also spend time learning more about yourself. If there's anything last month that I need to remove from my life, if there's anything next month that I need to say yes to or I need to say no to, because saying no, it's very hard to do. And you saying yes to everything that pops up into your life or in front of you or from someone you heard or whatever, it's gonna drive you crazy. So you have to figure out exactly what makes you happy, personally, like mentally, physically, anything like that. So you kind of reflect on that every month, and whatever thing doesn't make you happy, you remove it, and whatever things makes you happy, you just do it often, and that will definitely help you to plan better, because you know from the get-go this wasn't making me productive or happy, or good for my mental health this month, so there's no way to add it for next month. It's just
100%.
worthless.
100%.
Mm, facts.
100%. I th- I think that's in a nutshell great advice for all the listeners. No, that was great. Like that was great for me too because it made me realize some things, you know. I always want to start all these things, all these projects. Like for me, this year has been a big thing is like prioritizing, as you were saying, like just picking what is most important for sure, and just like not shaming myself if I didn't um do everything I needed to do in the day. My main word is just advance. Did I advance in something? Yes, cool, I'm good. Maybe I didn't get through the whole list, but I'm not gonna like shame myself like, oh, you suck, like you can't do, you know what I mean?
Exactly. Exactly. And I tell people it's okay to, it's okay to wake up today and just plan to relax.
Mm, big facts.
Right,
And
Terrence, you need to
and
be relaxing.
the only thing I would have to be honest, and that's something personally that helped me going through COVID, man. Sometimes you just need to find a getaway activity that you know that doing that activity is gonna change your mind. I'm not gonna lie, like me, it was cooking. Like I was giving myself a goal, like at
Me
least
too.
a
Me
week.
too. I learned how to bake better during COVID.
Nice.
See, that's what I'm saying. For me, it's just my time for myself, and I was giving myself some goals to just learn, like every 2 weeks, just learn a new recipe or something, you know. So that for me, that was my activity. Some people it would be to go for a walk or whatever, but especially
That
right
was
now, especially in Montreal, like with the curfew that we have and everything, we see how it turns people crazy. So you need to find that getaway activity.
Exactly.
100%.
Exactly.
100%. Well, thank you so much, Woodlyn, for joining us and having this chat with us. I think it was really productive. I think it could, that's funny. I think it was productive, but and that it could help a lot of people as well. I want you to take this time to let people know where they can find you, stay connected with you.
Well, thank you first of all for having me a second time. I really enjoy my time every time I'm in here.
Hey, back.
Well, anyone that interested in my products or myself, they can find me at preseed.com, which is PRES 3 I's I.com, or you can find me on IG, Dear Precy. On IG, and also I created just recently created an IG page for my planner, which is my dedication planner. So if you're like a healthcare professional or female creative, because my audience is mostly female entrepreneurs as well as healthcare professional, teachers, creative, and so anyone that enjoy plannings and you can find me. And also I have a blog where I talked about mental health, healthcare in general, self-care as well, because it is important to attend to those needs, because we just so we trying to get cut up and trying to compete with each other or do things like that, where we actually not focusing on ourselves
Mhm.
and do things the way we should do things. And if you are a beginner, and I have a lot of tips on how to plan, prioritize your mental health while you do all this. Once again, it was so nice talking to both of you. I'm so happy to be here.
Amazing. Thank you so much for joining us. Guys, don't forget to get that planner because it's so dope. Has a lot of like little fun things inside and things to make you better. So I suggest you get that daily planner. Also, if you guys want to hear more of us break down to lowdown full episode, link is in the description. We want you to come join us, be part of the fam. You know what I mean? Share with a friend. And see you next week.
Yes.
All right. Bye.
Bye, guys. Have a great night.